The killings of Andrew Brown Jr., George Floyd, and other people of color by law enforcement have become a key issue in the race for Virginia's next attorney general. This year, two-term incumbent Mark Herring is being challenged by Jay Jones in an election that could signal an even bigger political movement next year. NBC News political reporter Vaughn Hillyard joins me now from Alexandria, Virginia. So, Vaughn, first of all, tell us, who are these two candidates and how are the recent police killings, the protests, the trials like the Chauvin trial helping to define the race for Virginia's next AG?
Yeah, Joe, like Priscilla, I was in Elizabeth City over the weekend here. When you go from each of these communities, you constantly hear those pleas of change, of needing action. And where does that go? Well, the ballot box is one of those places, and that's what led us here to this race. You have a two-term incumbent, Mark Herring, a white attorney general who has represented the state of Virginia, a Democrat, but he is being challenged as he's going for that third term against a 32-year-old black man, a delegate from the Virginia House out of Norfolk, Jay Jones. I was able to have the chance to talk with both of them over the weekend about this race, because this is where that tension meets within the Democratic Party. You have a white attorney general who has said he has fought for progressive change, fought for action, but then a young black trial lawyer who says we need somebody who actually understands and represents our communities, and that time for change is now. Take a listen to part of our conversations.
We are in a moment, and I think everybody understands that we have challenging times ahead, and we need leaders whose voices have often been lost, forgotten, or left behind at the table with new ideas, fresh perspectives, and these different faces that reflect the Virginia of right now. It's about looking forward. It's not about looking back. It's about being proactive and not reactive.
I've been taking a progressive, forward-looking stand, and the difference now in Virginia is amazing, that we've made this much progress, and we've got a lot more that we can do on from protecting health care and reproductive rights to criminal justice reform to the environment. And that's why I'm asking for voters' support again to make sure that we build on all that progress.
Now, it's part of that tension, actually, the governor, Ralph Northam, who became quite famous nationally when photo came out allegedly showing him in blackface decades ago. Well, it was Mark Herring who, in those days later, he acknowledged that he at one time wore blackface as well, but making the claim that he has also tried to bring criminal justice issues and racial equity issues to the forefront of his time in the Attorney General's office. But Jay Jones, as you heard him say, this is not a time to have a reactive Attorney General, but one who is proactive.
Now, Vaughn, the issue of police brutality could also affect the ballot box next year. Let's have you take out your crystal ball here. What are the races to watch in 2022?
No, that's a good question here, because Virginia, they vote in off years, along with New Jersey. They vote in the off years. So their elections are here in 2021. This primary we're talking about is just 1 month from now. And so this could be a preview of other races to come in 2022. We saw last year, now Congresswoman Cori Bush rise up in Missouri. She was one time an activist, a protester on the front lines in Ferguson, Missouri, ultimately mounted a run against another Democratic incumbent to become Congresswoman. And those protests following the killing of George Floyd, those happened last summer before folks could really, or after folks could really put their name on the ballot for the 2020 election. So that's why, again, we were drawn to this Virginia Attorney General's race, because after a year of racial reckoning, you saw 32-year-old Jay Jones say he's going to run and mount a challenge against this incumbent Democrat. And is there potentially other races across the country like this one that we see heading into 2022, Joe?
All right. Very interesting, Vaughn. Thank you for taking a look at that specific race. Appreciate it.
Hey, NBC News viewers, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down here and click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives. Thanks for watching.